What's going on, YouTube? AlphonZeus of Team Gradelock here, another episode of Unlocking Your Week, episode 86. I'm going to split the vlog into two different parts this time. I'm going to put in one video will be the tournament results breakdown, as well as my run-throughs, as well as the video content preview, and in the second part, I'll put up the G-Series episode breakdown for the latest episode in the Cardfight Vanguard G-Series. So let's get started. Tournament results. I actually start off the week going to Time Warp for Vice Swords events, and I'm starting to get into a habit of going there a little bit more. So entering a sealed draft again, this time for the Hatsune Miku Project Diva second F set for support for the current set. Pretty much it costed $25, but we do get 5 packs, and unlike other Vice Swords sets, there is a guaranteed signed card in every box. So, and previous Vice Swords games, or at least in their sets, signed cards come in 1 in every 3, even 1 in every 5 booster boxes. So it was very, very rare to pull one. And when you do, you pretty much plus like a boss, because that signed card is pretty much worth the box itself, and anything else you get is a major plus. So going into that event, we only had 4 people, and so when we each put in our draft, 5 boosters, one of us is going to get a signed card. And ironic fashion enough, it was Ronnie again that pulling a signed card. Last week I said how he pulled a signed Wendy card from the Fairy Tail Seal draft. This week he pulled a signed Kaganeme Len card, and I'm pretty sure that's the guy. So going into the match, I first went up against Thompson. I think that's his name. I'm sorry if I didn't get the name right. So going into that, it was a little bit different format because it's everything like Way Swords as usual, except that instead of clocking the 7 you level up, it's clocking the 5. So it really just makes it harder, or makes it harder to think like, okay, I can't take too much damage right now, and I'm very limited on the climax cards because I only have 5, and going through those climaxes can be really, really deadly, especially when you hit the later levels. And I had to rely on 2 climax cards in order to get over the second game, and then in the third game I was already at level 3, but I had to do a ballsy play and go +2 soul climax, and I knocked them from level 1 into level 3 in 1 turn, and I was very surprised that none of that damage was cancelled. And the thing is, though, it got to the rate where he had to refresh and he can't even clock to draw 2, so he ended up not having the big field. So I won game 3 and I moved on to round 2, which pretty much was, I guess, the topping stage, because both of us were already both of us won our first round, so whoever wins that is pretty much going to top anyways. So Ronnie and I, we split the 2 boosters each, and I pulled a triple rare, so on top of the double rare and the special rare climax I pulled, I pretty much made a good money out of it. So I guess the only thing that I wish I could have had was that when the store owner would actually display the playmat, I thought that whoever got first place would actually get the playmat, but unfortunately Phil, he actually ended up getting the playmat because he's the guy that helps pretty much run the whole event. So hopefully I'll see if I can get some trades off of the playmat or whatnot. So ending off on the Vice Swords tournaments, if you guys do want more Vice Swords events, I know that we've done deck profile as well as a match, but if you want to see more, feel free to comment down below and we'll be more than happy to oblige by that. So moving into the weekend events, which is the ones that I actually posted up on the Facebook page, which you can visit in the link in the description down below. So first, we started off with Cardfight Vanguard. In the Friday tournament, I wasn't able to enter, but pretty much the tournament already started before me. So going into this tournament, it was only 7 people, but it was a 3 rounds of Swiss with a top 4 cut. So it was good to see that, okay, maybe less boosters distributed, but of course, more people are topping. So top 4 that I've seen so far, seen our own Joseph L being consistent as ever, topping and winning first place with the Shadow Paladins Abyss Revengers. He's probably one of the best Shadow Paladin players I've ever come across, and he's been rocking it ever since PBD, when he's kind of like a vanilla, but sometimes that skill where you retire through the gain 10k in a critical, it can come in handy. So we have Joe going in with the Abyss Revengers, #1 spot. Second, I kid you not, apparently it was Michael, but the thing is, though, his, I guess, name that he wanted to enter was pretty much Giggles Coconut, and he ran Link Joker with Blaster Joker and Venom Dancer, so good to see him take second spot. Then we have Antonio S running the Royal Paladin Seekers, and finally we got Brendan T rounding up top 4 with the Link Joker Deleters. So congrats to those top 4 in the Friday's Cardfight Vanguard tournament. And now let's get into the main event. On Saturday we had Cardfight Vanguard, 15 people, 4 rounds of Swiss with a top cut 2-4. So I ran in with the Musketeers again, and my first match was against Chaos Breaker Dragon. Yes, this is pretty much the build that dominated set 13. So what happened was, I spent the first 15 minutes of the match going through my deck because I only had 49 cards at the time. I was looking for the third Susanna that I ran, but it wasn't there. I don't know if I dropped it or whatnot, or it was just unfortunate circumstance. So I had to spend time trying to get an extra Martina sleeve, and I didn't get a double sleeve for that, so I can, actually play the match. Even though that Mr. Cody would actually, tell me, hey, it's alright, you can play 49. I'm thinking, no, I'm going lawful good on this thing. I need to have 50 cards in there to play you. And so we only had that best of one. And the best of one was pretty much me trying my best to keep myself at low damage enough so that I don't have to worry too much about guarding that much later. But the thing is, though, it was time to his timely critical trigger that I actually took the 2 damage and I caught up to him at 5 damage. And I was not able to bounce back after that. So I lost round 1. I thought that, okay, it was a bit discouraging. But the thing is, though, I put myself in that situation and, I probably should be a bit faster with just getting that issue solved. So moving into round 2, I went up against Chris L, and he was running the Prominence Glare Bluish Flame Liberators of Gold Paladin. It was a crazy back and forth 3 games. I won game 1 because I was able to rush him down with the Musketeer Legion and been able to do Vera Legion skill, and I was hitting 27k columns with Augusto and Merca. So it was actually pretty insane to see that. Moving into that second game though, he purposely grade locked himself at 2 because I was not able to, I guess, perform Legion. And the thing is, though, that worked out in his favor because he had 2 early criticals on his Vanguard rides into 1 and 2 that put myself to 4 damage, and I'm very scared because the thing is, though, I do the 1 pass, he gets the trigger, I'm pretty much done, and that's what pretty much happened. I had to do a 1 to pass because I kept trying to make sure I can do no pass him so he doesn't, I guess I don't get sacked. But the thing is, though, it ended up really detrimenting myself in which I had to lose that game because I had to bank on getting a Hannah, which is the heal trigger for Musketeers. So I lost game 2. Going into game 3, it was pretty much a big back and forth. I did not see Glare at all during those games. And the thing is, though, he was grade locked at 2 for maybe a turn or so, but that turn or so really lost out on 2 extra cards he could have had in his hand in order to guard with. So I won round 2. Going into round 3, I went up against Eric, and he was running the Link Joker Deleters. And it was crazy back and forth matches. Game 1, it was pretty much him deleting my Vanguard, and I couldn't really guard much out of that. It was pretty much a slaughter on his part. Then game 2, I had to bank on getting a Hannah heal trigger in order to recover back and just bounce back with the Vera Legion and take him out for game 3. Game 3, he had the control with Gale, and I had to ride because I honestly didn't have that many grade 3s in hand to kind of recover from not 1 but 2 deletes. So I actually lost game 3, so I'm 1 and 2 right now. Round 4, I got Rob from Team Dark Matter, and the thing is, though, he ended up giving me the win because apparently we're not going to top anyways because it's only a top 4 cut. If it was actually a top 8 playoff cut, maybe we could have fought it out to see who would win, but the unfortunate part is I wasn't able to make it out. So I'll give you the results for the top 4 people that made it in the Cardfight Vanguard tournament. Number 1, we have Jason J, our own Team Gradelock member. He was running the Abyss Revengers that he borrowed from Alex. Next, coming in second, we had Frank F from Team Dark Matter, and he was running the Neo Nectar Musketeers. It was a different build for him because he actually ran Dual Legion, but it's not Martina Vera. It was actually Ricard Vera. And yes, Ricard, the 10k Legion that can hit for 25k. It's like the generic Legion for that, but it was Musketeers, so it was pretty good. And plus, that 10k defense on Ride 2 to ride to grade 2 is actually really, really good. So, and then I think third and fourth, we had it between Alex, our own Alex Axel, who ran Royal Paladin Seekers, and then rounding out top 4 was Grant, also from Team Dark Matter, running Royal Paladin Seekers as well. So we had one Shadow Paladin, 1 Neo Nectar, and 2 Royal Paladins. It's good to see Neo Nectar topping again for the second week in a row, even though it's different players. But it's always good to see other decks managing to make it to the top 4 spot, because everybody wants to make it for that prize support. But at the very least, if you do kind of bad, at least you learn something from experience of competing at the local level, because that's when kind of like rules and I guess common courtesy really take into place when you're preparing for the regional stage. So the Future Card Buddy Fight tournament had 8 people. It was a 3 rounds of switch with a top 2 cut. And I ran the Legend World Actor Knights, the Terrets, pretty much. And I performed very poorly. Round 1, I went against Jason. He was running the Magic World Wizards. And in game 1, which he could have won, he ended up charging the clock because he thought I had a Breathing Guard in hand. And the thing is, though, of course, you don't want any of your spells to get Breathing Guard. And it was pretty much feeling out of the process of what should I really negate. And what I've learned from that matchup was that you should negate only the clock or another spell if you think you have game. That's pretty much what Breathing Guard is there for. I shouldn't be worrying about draw power or that, because he had Mary Sue to just search out almost anything he wanted to. So Games 2 and Game 3, he had some pretty crazy shenanigans in which that he ended up dealing 4 damage to me on turn 1. Because he had the Drago Wizards that you call, you can rest, and I get burned for 1 damage. He did that twice, and then he called out another unit to deal 2 damage to me. I didn't have anything to block with, so I ended up going down to 6. And then, after I managed to clear his field, he came back with, like, you know, crazy draw power with, you know, the Books of Solomon and stuff, volumes 1 and volume 2, nice ones. And he ended up having the 5 cards that he ended up going in the clock. And he had 3 damage exactly in order to take me out game 2. Because he swung for 1, swung for 2, and then next turn, swung for 1, swung for 2. I had no central monster, I had no Holy Grail Power Mythology to save me. It was really bad. So game 3 went up, it was a nail biter right to the core. He dealt a crazy amount of damage to me by the time he hit turn 2, because he had the Dragons too, and he dealt 4 damage to me off of those burns alone, because he did burn, and then magical goodbye, burn, burn. It was insane. I didn't know what to do about it, and I lost. That was probably one of the craziest ways I've ever lost in Future Card Buddy Fight. Off of not the clock, but off of getting burned for that much damage in both of those losses. So I lost round 1, so I'm not going to top anyways. Round 2, I went against Joseph L., and he ran the Katana World Skull Warriors, and he pretty much rocked me even harder. I opened game 1 with all monsters. I had no spells to protect me. When I called in my monster in the center and tried to swing, I was okay. I was alright. But he ended up clearing my monster, and he summoned a full board of monsters, and he had the ones that penetrate too. So he just pretty much like link attack, and I took 4 damage, and then I even take more damage off of I guess Yamagitsune, and he just into darkness, and then swung with the weapon. I had nothing to do, and I lost because all he needed was just 1 monster to win it, or at least a monster would penetrate. Because I called YOLO Priestess, but that 7k can be pretty easy to link attack with. So I lost game 1. Game 2 was even worse, because I tried to form up some field presence, but he was very smart to actually take out the Fool. Because the Fool is very, very vital for the Terra deck, because not only is it a source of a good, decent 2 damage, it's also the main card that I need to sacrifice for the I think it was the Fool's Journey, so I can draw 3 cards. And I think it was very smart for him to do that, because I drew into Fool's Journey, so I was like, oh man. The reason why I needed to call the Fool in the first place was to just put on more pressure and deal 2 damage to him. So I lost 2 games outright in there. Then in game round 3, I went against Matt, and he ran Dragon World, and it was pretty much just Armor Dragons, what I've seen. And his Armor Dragon build is interesting. It's different from Dex's. Dex's build, hopefully I will put up this week. I didn't know what happened to the footage in the very, very beginning part, because he explained the first size 3 and a little bit of the second size 3 in his deck, but it only lasted for like 1 second, because I saw it, and then when I began the second clip, it was just like, whoa, what's going on? Why are you starting from that point when you already went through another monster? So I felt bad, and hopefully today, Alex got the tripod in the camera, so hopefully he'll record the deck profile and I'll have that up for you. But in Matt's Armor Dragon build, it was different because he had a lot of penetrators. It was very scary that I had to use up pretty much almost all my fortune shields to try and keep my guy's defense alive, and it was just crazy how he can just get all that penetrate damage. He penetrated damage for 5 in 1 turn. I was a victim of some crazy ass shenanigans that day, and so I ended up losing that one. So top 2 for that tournament, Jason J also managed to top both Buddy Fight and Card Fight Vanguard, and he went in with Magic Gold Wizards. In second place, we had Dwayne B, and he ran the Darkest Dragon World Purgatory Knights. And after seeing what I've seen in the finals match between Jason and Dwayne, it was crazy seeing him attack 6 times, because just like, you know, Demios attack, and then size 1, and then like another size 1, retire, stand, and, you know, like attack, and then weapon attack. Oh god, it was just nasty as hell. And I gotta admit, it was very crazy to see that type of stuff happen when you just realize, oh wow, I am very scared for this deck right now. And dealing 6 attacks in 1 turn is complete bonkers. And you don't have to rely on triggers in order to activate them either. You just have to set up the field, and you're pretty golden. So, pretty much that concludes all the tournament reports. I hope you guys like it. I'm trying to keep it a little bit short. I know we're coming up around like 5 minutes or 5 minutes 15. So let's go into the video content preview that we'll be getting for this week. Rounding off what we're going to do, we're going to have another deck profile for you. It's probably going to be Buddy Fight with Dex's profile or maybe another deck profile as well. And we're going to put up a match for you. We recorded pretty much 3 Buddy Fight matches within the course of the weekend. And it was actually pretty insane how we just ran through them just to see what would actually, what would be the result of that. And so hopefully, I'll have the deck profile also up on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, I'll have a matchup. And then, of course, don't forget the second vlog on Thursday. I'll probably be talking more about the local experience. Pretty much after explaining the concept of magic numbers, I'll probably do a concept on just trying to get through the local level. Pretty much just kind of like, I guess, a beginner's guide to local tournaments, or just how to keep yourself in the court during tournament time. And it's definitely something that I guess needs to be talked about. But speaking of things that need to be talked about, I want to give you guys an update on the collaboration between Team Guard and Team Gradelock. So far, we finished up recording the videos for the collaboration. It's pretty much based on trading ethics. We should have it up within the week. And this will be a specialized discussion where we take different sides of an argument. In trading ethics, the topic will be what do you think of ripping people off, the whole concept. And I chose a side that ripping people off is bad, and Team Guard ended up taking the route of why ripping people off isn't necessarily bad. So we get to see how, I guess, those two sides would coincide, and it's something different, something new. It's not just like another meta discussion that we've seen in a whole lot of videos. We want to try and do something new, something that probably needs to be addressed, especially within the trading card game community, especially for people that are just getting in there, as well as the veterans that have been playing it for years to come. So that's pretty much what your video content preview is going to be looking like for this week. I guess any other bonus things I can bring up will definitely be streaming, because I think I always wanted to just try my hand at streaming, and even though I already have a job, I have, school, I have stuff lined up for me that is very hard, because pretty much I just lose out on the entire day from like pretty much waking up, going to school, going to work, coming home, 6:30, where the heck did time go? So hopefully on an off day, I can try and stream some Hearthstone more, because I really do want to try and not only get rank 20, I want to try and level up even more. But the problem is I still need to unlock the last 2 wings of the Naxxramas quarter, and I probably need to do a lot of questing for that. So if you guys actually want to see some streams, then I'll be more than happy to. You can comment down below with that. I'm probably going to stream regardless, so pretty much, I guess, you can offer in your support or discontent. Whatever the case may be, I will do my best to reply to the comments in due time. So that's pretty much ends, I guess, the vlog for unlocking your week, because now I'm probably going to just go into a separate vlog where I just get to break down the latest Cardfight Vanguard G series. And it's probably going to be a 2-day thing just for time constraints, so hopefully it won't be as strenuous as, I guess most people would think it would be. So that is it for me. My name is AlphonZeus. I hope that you've enjoyed the week that I've unlocked for you, and I will see you guys next time, and take care.